ask. Don't try to get me complicit in it before you.
No.
Ask.
I think it's totally
ahead.
something we should be doing. We should be talking about Loki season
Yeah,
1,
segue.
episode 2.
Episode 2.
All right.
And you did watch this,
I
right?
did, yes.
Okay.
I was up early to watch it to make sure that I got
Oh, there you
got
go.
it in. Before all heck broke loose. But absolutely yes.
What kind of
This
heck's
is.
breaking loose, man?
I got kids, man. They're home. They're home now. That's it. Like there's
You live a charmed life. You ain't got no heck breaking loose. I'm kidding.
there's heck all the time
There's
breaking
heck
loose.
all the time.
It's not good. It's always not
so
good.
hectic it turns hectic.
It,
And that's not heck, it's
I
hack.
don't even know how that happens, but yes. Essentially that is exactly it. I've got this wonderful picture frame. We're in studio again. This is good. We're tinkering in studio as we kind of do
we'll
this.
See how this goes.
Okay, just flashed across the screen. The mystery villain was revealed. However, I put a giant
Sort of
red.
revealed.
I put a giant red spoilers dot. I don't know how else to describe it. I did that.
know. It wasn't. I mean, anyone looking at it could still tell it's a woman, so it's still a spoiler. Because we don't know who the woman is.
I think
And
it was.
The spoiler is the spoiler would be that Loki's a woman.
Yes.
So you still no matter
I definitely tried to do.
no matter what you did, you kind of.
So I was screwed no matter what.
Well, you screwed the whoever comes across your page.
No, that could
Screwed
be a man. I think that could definitely be a man. I think so. No, you don't think so?
It's got blonde hair and whatever. Everybody knows it's not Loki.
Well, yeah, it could be it also could be the Enchantress. Could be.
It's got Loki's outfit on.
I covered that up with
green
the
and the
spoiler.
horns, but I can still see the horns.
I know I did make the horns kind of evidence so that we would see
Yeah,
them.
dude. Let's just come on, face the facts here, man.
All right, so if you haven't watched it yet, spoilers. Lady Loki is the mystery villain, or at least the variant that they've been chasing thus far. And so far, the thing that I'm most impressed with in this series in 2 episodes is twofold. One, how fast-paced everything seems to go, even though there's a lot of periods of dense information that they're trying to get across, but it never feels too dense. There was the sequence where Owen Wilson and Loki are kind of talking, and he's asking about the nexus of realities, and he's asking about all this stuff. It's enough where, yes, it's dense. Yes, I admit at 6:30 in the morning, I didn't think too hard about it either. I didn't try to think too hard about it, but I didn't, at the same time, get thrown off by anything that they were saying to the point where I was taken out of the story. Is that something that you would agree with?
I would agree with that. I think I still find it a little dense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they're repeating it over and over again, and they're doing it with a kind of tongue-in-cheek style that makes you know what parts you're supposed to be listening to versus what parts you're not supposed to be listening to,
Right.
or it doesn't matter whether
Right.
you hear it or not. So that's pretty good. I also like the sequence in the tent in the very beginning where Loki was trying to fake them out, and
Yeah.
and Owen Wilson just gets quiet for a few minutes and goes, he's lying, and then they but
Yeah.
but there's no big fanfare about it. It's
Yeah.
just like, nah, he's telling us a lie.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. Showed a little bit how formidable Mobius is,
Yeah.
and that Loki's probably not going to see the light. If he sees the light at all, he's going to see the light late in the series. He hasn't come around yet. Although because we live in an age where there are really no villains.
Right.
And I think the closest the MCU has to an outright 100% villain is Thanos.
Yeah.
And even they tried to make 3-dimensional with a motive
Right.
that seemed that he in his madness had skewed into altruism.
Mm-hmm.
But it really was just twisted, and you've just killed half the people in the universe. But
Yeah.
fair enough. We don't have like a Darth Vader. Or, there's just people who are just outright, I'm evil, and and I'm in charge. I want to be in charge. And so Loki, even Loki's protested, oh my God, I can't talk. Even Loki's protestations about, like, I want to take over
Yeah.
the time variant agency or whatever the heck that thing is called.
Right.
When he's talking to Lady Loki, which is what the internet is calling her, by the way.
Which I approve.
Yeah. It doesn't sound right. It sounds like it's something that he thinks he should want.
Yeah.
But doesn't seem like he actually wants it.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Look, I'm going to tell you it again. If we're not doing a Rogue Rage this week, but if I did a Rogue Rage this week, it would be I'm not a fan of the weekly format. I understand why companies are doing it. I understand that that it keeps people engaged for more than just one weekend at a time. I get it. But
do you think that in the weekly format this one is working better than others, or
I don't see any difference between that and WandaVision or Winter Soldier.
Right.
It's just annoying. It just gets annoying because there's so much of a big deal made up about like each episode. Then you sit down and watch each episode, and then when the episode ends, and sometimes they end when you're really into an episode. Sometimes they end abruptly.
Yeah.
And you're like, God damn it! Now I gotta wait like a whole week to see this stupid shit again. So,
Bing.
So it's kind of I kind of don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. And sometimes it isn't worth it. Sometimes you'll get to episode 12 of a season, and you're like, there's no way. I'm already like almost halfway out the door. There's no way they get me back.
Yeah.
In the theater and my butt back in the seat with this last episode. There's no way it happens, you know? So it's
off the top of your head, do you know of other movies with Tom Hiddleston in it?
Skull Island.
Oh, that's right. He was in
It
that.
had Brie Larson in it also.
He was in that. You're right. I have to think about that.
And Nick Fury.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a real Marvel connection in that thing.
And it had Shea Wiggum, who played the sector boss or whatever in the Agent Carter TV show.
Okay.
There's a lot of MCU people in there.
Well, it's probably not coincidental, actually.
Probably not.
What year was Skull Island, off the top of your head?
I don't remember.
Don't remember? Let me see here.
2017, maybe.
I think. So it was definitely post Avengers.
Because Godzilla was 2014.
Okay. I don't remember much of Skull Island. I don't remember him in Skull Island. I remember that he was in it though. Now that you mention
Yeah, he was a star. It was his movie.
I'm trying to think of another film that he's been in, because I'm trying to wonder if he's as good an actor or he's just great as Loki. He's fantastic in this. He's so magnetic, right? I mean, he's so likable.
That's if that's how you feel. That's how you feel. Don't tell me how I feel.
I'm telling you, damn it. I'm telling you exactly how I feel.
That's if you like him, then you like him. That's you. I think he's good. You know, I'm not like whoa blown away by him, but I've always thought he was great.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought he was great in the role. He's made the role interesting because Skull Island is 2017. He's made the role very interesting because anybody else could play him would probably play him maybe a little too nice or a little too evil. Yeah. So he can't have a show of his own.
Yeah.
I think it's Tom Huddleston.
Oh, is it Huddleston? I thought it was Hiddleston.
I don't know what his name is. I think it's.
You know, that's one of those things where we both A, should know, and B, now you've got me like wondering. Like,
but if you had let it go, nobody would know I said it wrong. I think it's Hiddleston's.
Yes, it is Hiddleston. I was correct.
I think it's his charisma that got him the show. I think it's because of him that he has a show. He can carry a show.
Right, and this is... So Owen Wilson's fantastic, but he's basically being Owen Wilson, right? Like, this is almost like Wedding Crashers Owen Wilson if he got a job at the Time Variance, you know. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, right? Like, I love it. I love that it's Owen Wilson as if he was Wedding Crashers Owen Wilson working for the Time Variance Authority. So I'm not poo-pooing that. I love it. This is now what
also John C. Reilly was in Skull Island.
Him I remember in that. Because he was the crazy and
he was
captain.
Also in Guardians of the Galaxy. So
he would make who's the captain in Jaws that takes him on the boat?
Robert Shaw.
No, I know the actor, but I mean, what character does he play?
Quint.
Quint. John C. Reilly would make the perfect Quint.
No, you wouldn't.
He would absolutely. In a Jaws remake, I'd like to see John C. Reilly in the role of Quint.
There is no way that is no.
No to the remake or no to John C.
First
Reilly?
of all, no to a remake, and then why would you have John C. Reilly replacing Robert Shaw? That doesn't make any sense.
I just see it.
I know, but, should we be paying attention to anything you see?
I'm just telling you, I see it. I think that would be
All
fantastic.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
I think that would be fantastic.
I don't think so.
I don't remember my original
entitled
point.
to be wrong, though.
So, Owen Wilson is great. He's being Owen Wilson. This is now, what, the 5th time we're watching Loki? Let's count down. We got Ragnarok. We've got the original Thor. We've got Thor: Dark World, right? He was in that. So that's 3. Avengers.
The Avengers, and then Avengers.
Infinity War.
Endgame.
I don't think he was in Endgame.
Yeah, because that's how he got to here.
No, wasn't he in Infinity War?
He wasn't.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. He wasn't. You're right. So this is now.
This is how this show.
You're right.
Is happening.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So, this is now the 6th or 7th appearance by Tom Hiddleston as Loki, and I'm not tired of him. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about.
No, but I mean, it can. I mean, I think the good thing about him is he's not over the top.
Right.
About anything.
Right.
He's not. And I love Jack Sparrow, but he's not Jack Sparrow.
Right.
So, you could probably watch him for a long period of time, and like I said, because he neither teeters all the way good nor all the way evil.
Right.
He can kind of ride that balance.
Right.
A little easier, but he's coming around though. You can see some things that as he's witnessing horrible events, and when he had that one tear in his eye when he found out that Asgard had been destroyed, that Ragnarok happened.
Yeah.
And then when he revealed it to Mobius, he revealed it as a revelation on the case.
Right.
But he was moved. He was affected by what he had learned.
Yeah. So. No, I agree. We know that he eventually comes around. Because in Avengers Endgame, at that point, he's literally, there's no games, there's no tricks. He's altruistically trying to save his brother.
Yeah, sort of, maybe.
Not for him, I think, right?
I mean, I think he was more in than out by.
Yeah. Well, he sacrificed himself essentially, right, to try to defeat Thanos.
Yeah.
So there's a redemption arc that he went through. We're getting a Loki that hasn't been there yet. Mm-hmm. Knowing what we know about,
he's capable of it.
We know he's capable of it. Would you assume the Time Variance Association knows about it as well? And that's why.
See, that's the thing about this kind of storytelling and this kind of element in a story, where like just people in some kind of bureaucratic, office system know everything that you have done versus everything you will that you will do, and everything that you may have done, and it's even if that wasn't part of the plan, they could throw it in as part of the plan. So sure, sure they know about it.
Right.
Even if that never comes up, I'm sure you could say they know about it.
Yeah, I think, but I think that actually plays a major role in this show, because I think one of the main arcs that we're going to see is this, again, similar arc, but maybe just done differently, in where Loki starts out as this trickster villain, and eventually gets back to that same place he was in Avengers Endgame before he was killed.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think it's going to be something Owen Wilson's going to reveal to him, and like kind of like, I knew all the time you were going to help. It's going to be, and it's going to feel great. I know it's coming, and it's going to feel great, and I'm okay with it.
Okay.
What?
It's speculation theater again.
I know. It's also my experienced eye.
Sure.
For storytelling.
But the other side of it is that kills the character.
Possibly, yes. But think about it. Look at the parallel with Game of Thrones, right? You had Lena Headey's character, and his name is escaping me off the top of my head, basically, because I think we spent the last 2 hours trying to get our setup correctly. Um,
Lena Headey,
his
Cersei,
Cersei and who and
Jamie.
Jamie, right? Jamie Lannister. He had this entire redemption arc, and it culminated with Brienne, and then the writers just threw that out.
He didn't though. That's a television trope. In the books, he doesn't have a redemption arc. I know you're talking about the TV show.
Yes.
But basically, the redemption arc for him was him just coming to grips with the fact that he's not a good person.
Okay.
You know, in spite of all the little good things that he does, and like the fact that he saved Brienne, even that's even in the book, that
right.
The Bear Pit situation. But he's not necessarily being redeemed, because you can't really be redeemed for throwing a child out of a window. You know, and so like, yeah, I mean, people who like him and people who think he's cute want him to be redeemed. That's great, but I don't actually
no Kylo Ren here.
I actually think he was not on a redemption arc.
I think
I think you have to self-examine. I think that's just as important for a character to be self-aware.
Right.
But that's not necessarily redemption.
I think there's levels of redemption. I think when you're so far down...
Well, if there's a level of redemption, sure. But, I mean, you can't call it redemption.
But I can call it a redemption arc in terms of a story, right? A level of redemption.
You can call it whatever you want, because you might see it completely different. I just don't believe he's on a redemption arc.
The reason I said that Jaime Lannister, and I use that as an example, though, is that it seemed as if he was on a level of redemption arc to make up for the person he was.
Yeah.
And that it culminated in the Brienne when they consummated their relationship toward the end. And then the producers and the writers threw all that out, and he went right back to being who he was. He was still in love with Cersei. He'll do anything for her, and then they died together.
It's like, did they throw it out, or is he going right back to the person that he is?
No, and that's... But my question to you, and the reason I bring it up, though, is would you say that he was more interesting... Because we actually have an example now of someone that went through the arc, but then like a rubber band snapped back. Did that make him any more likable, less likable? Because I was enjoying his quasi-redemption arc in Game of Thrones, and I actually didn't like the fact that we had gone through everything just to have it snap back in place. Mm-hmm. Your point with Loki was, we don't know if he's going to go on that redemption arc, and is that going to make the character less interesting? I actually would argue that it makes it more interesting, that if he can actually follow through with it. Right?
What would they do with that character after that? You've got Thor. You've got heroes. He's not going to be a hero.
No, but he could
never. I mean, in the essence of the character, the trickster, the god of mischief.
Right.
What would he be if he was a complete hero?
I think he could be a foil, though. He could still be a foil without being an antagonist.
The best you can hope for is him becoming self-aware.
Okay.
So that at least there's a percentage of things you can believe he says that are true.
Yeah. But
he still is going to do various. And then, most writers, what they would do is that tease you to thinking that he was going to be coming around, and then he doesn't, like they did in Game of Thrones.
Right.
Because writers today are terrible.
I think Benioff and Weiss, yes, I agree. But I think in general,
I would not leave it limited to them.
No, I'm not limiting it to them. But in this particular,
we've seen various movies, some Disney movies that have space and stars in them that have proven that the deficit in creativity and writing is not just with Benioff and Weiss.
Yeah, Spike would be another great example of someone that can be redeemed and actually become more of an interesting character.
Who's Spike?
In Buffy. Yeah, that's a great example of someone who can go through an actual redemption arc because he gets his soul back, and in their mythos, vampires have no soul, so anything he might have done as a vampire kind of gets excused because it wasn't the person. And then he gets his soul. He actually fought for his soul, unlike Angel, and he actually became a more interesting character when that was the case. Then they kind of made him a little boring because he was wrestling, because all the vampires have to wrestle with when they get their soul back, and they go, "Oh, I remember all the cruel things and horrible things I did."
Why do you think that's boring?
It makes the character depressed and grim for a little while, and then they have to kind of work through it, and they didn't do a great job of that until midway through the 7th season, and then finally he kind of redeemed him. He accepted what was done as a vampire and why it was done. They got to the heart of with his mom and all that other stuff. And then at that point, he became, back to being
neutered.
No, not neutered. He became an interesting character
again.
Angel,
he was neutered.
Well, his ultimate redemption arc was that he actually sacrificed himself to save the world, and that was his. And then the Angel, they're like, "Hey, it'd be really great if we brought Spike on." And I agree, it was great when they brought him on. They didn't neuter him on Angel, though.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
I just didn't think he was as interesting anymore. As one of the good guys, I just didn't find him as interesting.
I think that show got a sudden cancellation also because what ended up happening, they basically had to wrap it up in
26 episodes. I mean
22, and but I think I think it was the last like 6 or 7. So really, before they knew that they were wrapping everything up.
I'm just saying he was not interesting for 22.
There was a good episode where him and Angel were fighting.
Are you telling me I found those episodes good, or am I telling you I didn't find them interesting?
I'm telling you there was one episode where Spike and Angel were both fighting for that prophecy. And it was like one of the earlier episodes. That was very interesting. Otherwise, I would agree with you. I'm just agreeing with you. All right, what do you guys think? Spike, great redemption arc. Is Loki redemption arc boring? Are you bored or on board? I didn't even do it with Hassan because we're both on board. F it. I already know.
I told you I was on board last week.
I know.
And that
I'm continuing. I'm heartily enjoying the series.
And then I would shun any of your attempts to get me to continue to repeat that I'm on board. Which I fulfilled again this week.
When we come back, we caught up with actor Jason Tobias last week, right before his new movie Fear came out. It's on VOD and it is on streaming. You can get it everywhere. It's a zombie movie in the Great White North, but with a couple little twists and turns as we go along. We got to sit down with the actor, writer, and director himself and ask him all about it. We will sit on that interview when we come back.